All right, welcome to Smokey Approved Korea. I'm your boy Jurnalist, and on this one, we are back to finish up the writing styles of BTS. I believe on this one, we will cover, I believe it's going to be J-Hope, and then JIN, Jimin, V, my little, wow, it's the intro, so we can't say it yet. But y'all know if you've been watching the channel. And then we've got the end of it. This is going to be from Mira. Shout out to her for putting this together. Thank you guys very much for watching this. My new song comes out on October 9th. I'm sorry, I have to shield myself. But it's in the description. We're going to make it quick. If you want to support it, it's there. If not, totally fine. Totally get it. Know what you're actually here for. You're here for that BTS, and I totally get that. So, yeah, let's get into this. Thank you for joining me. Please do hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description, and let's get into it.
Pathetic, which goes... J-Hope has been involved in the creation of every BTS album. He's one of BTS's primary songwriters and composers. He's been publishing music since before debut, and he's written in Korean, English, and Japanese. J-Hope has one mixtape, which is, of course, Hope World. He actually doesn't write alone, like, ever. He almost always has a co-writer, and it's usually the other members of the rap line. In fact, the one song of his that I found that didn't have a co-writer, he took the opportunity to absolutely bash on pigeons. J-Hope's style is characterized by his unique tone, stylistic repetition, and strong transitions. His writing is performance writing. He has a lot of versatility in his lyrics. He can be zany and ironic, but also intense and aggressive. I think his writing lives on a high wire that you can recognize in contrast to the other members of the rap line. J-Hope's stances tend to be a bit more bug-eyed and borderline unhinged. I mean, yeah, Suga can absolutely unhinge his jaw and go for the jugular, but J-Hope comes onto a track like he's from another world. His flow incorporates a lot of theatricality.
You know who I would liken J-Hope to? Listen to Wu-Tang. I'll give you 3 seconds to get a chance to figure out who I'm going to say. All right, time's up. The person I would liken him to from Wu-Tang Clan would definitely be ODB. The high dramatic shifts in the tone of the artist, plus the way that they like just approach records is so abstract or foreign that's the best approximation that I could have for somebody from that era or just that type of artist. Or like even Busta Rhymes would be somebody else, like artists that just have really like high dynamic jumps in what they do and are very charismatic throughout the record, not just kind of like very monotony, like I got some shit to say rappers. J-Hope definitely fits that mold.
He really does love mutated repetitions, where a line will start or end the...
Alright, as you guys can probably see, I've changed clothes. It's still the same day, but I've had to change clothes. I have to go film some promo after this. So, voila. Let's get back into the video.
Same way, but he'll twist the in-betweens to kind of rope the audience into the narrative. J-Hope's poetry is really catchy. He doesn't write sound for some big illustrious meaning, he's writing it because it sounds good. The repetition creates strong hooks in every line. The variation in consonants but the repeated vowels give shape and definition to the rhythm and ride of the verses. His verses have such complete sound ideas. You want to listen to the whole thing to hear these transitions between the pared down, dancey, almost comedic singing, to the suddenly choppy two-syllable bite, and finally that resigned long O and the almost sighs in each couplet. J-Hope's songs are always so fun to listen to because the punchy syllables and constant change-ups are unpredictable, yet somehow just right.
This is style, this is mine. 비슷비슷한 이들 이 신동체 time. 함께 해보자 여긴 잠수함. 모두 알아 낙스난 내 모함자.
Where Namjoon and Yoongi write long, fast, punching blocks of text followed by sudden sections of cooldown, Hoseok prefers transitions in his writing, and he likes to tweak the syllables in each verse as he leaves one type of performance and moves into another.
편히 울고 싶은 거 I know 미친 듯 놀고 싶은 거 I know 사랑해서 내고 싶은 거 I know yeah I know I know I know Cause me 나무 고기처럼 걸려봤겠지 상대 갈증으로 인한 욕망이란 그물들 yeah. 어둠 속 내 아픔을 토할 때 한숨으로 찬 공기가 죄어올 때난 느꼈어 문지기 다리에 파란 것만 걷고 싶단 걸 Singing my blues 내가 그 순간을 묻는다면 환하게 내리쬐는 sunshine 그 느낌을 묻는다면 자연스레 내 눈에 원샷 그 분위기 속 음악을 틀고 각자의 stretching 긴장을 보여줘 내 맘을 숨긴다면 후회했어 너와의 sunset 문득 스쳐가는 J-Hope이 아닌 정원석에서 희망이란 너고 후회는 가득했겠지 틀렸다
I would say J-Hope is really good at doing a thing that I feel like it should be a technique, but the term I've like coined for it is called orphan bars. Like you'll have a couplet and then one of the two out of the couplet doesn't rhyme, and then in the next section the second one will rhyme with the next one from the next section, but you never rhyme anything with the first one. Like he doesn't do a lot of that, which I do appreciate. But I wish the example she would use for the showing of like how he likes to use onomatopoeia and like actual noises would be really good if she used the dang one, because that's why my verse in dang was so hard when I did the remix. I was just copying Bretta's flow for like the first part of it because he was like bang bang bang. I was like, that shit's so hard. That's why I wish she would use this example in this particular part.
When it comes to J-Hope, there really isn't a difference between writing and performing. He plays with the audience, casually remarking that his life must have been regret after regret until his death with this big smile in his voice. Where RM and Suga have dry wit and dark humor, J-Hope is straight fucking funny.
What I just say she using it, but she not using the right part of the verse, even though that verse is hard though.
어이없이 느끼지 yeah 솔직히 쟤들이 yeah 왜 저리 날린지 yeah 차분히 생각해 yeah 시간은 많기에 yeah 이건 숙제야 숙제 yeah 못 푸는 네 문제 땡.
In the same way that comedy has setups and punchlines, Hoseok's writing has plans and payoffs. The use of sound effects, interjections, imitations, and casual dialogue in his writing provide an extremely entertaining and occasionally scathing tone. By keeping these things to the bone and using these theatrical details in his narratives, J-Hope's writing demonstrates its own version of micro and macro, and it creates sensation without having to get flowery. In his solo music, I would say he's somewhat less message-driven than the other members and is more interested in creating sounds that he wants to listen to.
Hello to my whole world. 내 세상인 girl. 너만의 이야기 달려해줘 일말이요. Okay, shout out to my whole world. 그 누구도 안 돌자 세상에 안 바뀌어. 소설 같은 나만의 feel.
In this case, the message is servicing the sound, not the other way around. His lyrics feature themes like dancing, self-respect, self-acceptance, and friendship. His style is focused on the spectacle of sound at the end of the day. Basically, when you put them together, RM is James, Suga is Jesse, and J-Hope is Meowth.
No. Bun that. That's probably one of her worst examples. Team Rocket? Oh, fuck off. What's a good three-headed dragon? I gotta go basketball reference for this one. But when LeBron went to Miami and it was D Wade, Bosh, and James, like that's who they are. Three people that individually are great by themselves, but without the sum of the parts of them being together, like James don't get his first chit. Like it just no. No, no, no. The fucking Team Rocket? Meowth is a fucking sidekick, technical leader. Like, nah, this is not a good example. This is not a good example. Nah, I don't rate the Team Rocket example. Jesse, James, and Meowth, fuck off. No, that's terrible.
Right now, Jin hasn't written any songs by himself. He is, however, a co-writer on most of his solo songs and a few group tracks. He co-writes mostly with Slow Rabbit and RM. Jin's lyrics are clean and honest. He really fits the standard for emotional pop, where the priority is catchy hooks and uncomplicated but vulnerable lyrics. His earlier works in songs like Awake and Tonight show honest, simple lines that stack together sweetly. His earlier imagery is mostly one-liners or two-liners, and the overall song stays in one emotional tone. 꿈꾸고 싶어 그래도 말야 떠날 때가 됐는걸. I saw someone say on one of the various sites that Awake was written purely by RM and Jin had nothing to do with it. They cited no source for this, and everywhere else I've looked cites Jin as the second writer. So I'm going to assume, at least somewhere in this song, some of the lyrics are Jin's.
Does Buddy do trot? He should definitely do some trot songs if he does it. But this feels like his type of lane though.
Jin's writing is like diary writing or confessional writing, and I don't mean immoral confessions like Jin killed a man and then he buried him under the floorboards and Awake is about the beating of his hideous heart. I mean more that his emotions, usually his anxieties, are at the forefront. Complex rhyme schemes and sonic poetry don't play as huge a role. Jin doesn't seem to care about sounding like a genius or playing 3D chess with the audience. I think he just likes to talk to his fans through his lyrics. He doesn't seem to care about overcomplicating things.
That's exactly what I was trying to explain to Benny yesterday. We was working on one of these songs. And the song we was working on, it's like, it's your own emotional experiences. But because he does so much other stuff outside of this particular, we'll say like theme and music, he's always like worried about like making it pretty or like it's too tacky. And I'm just like, mate, this is like the one rare time you can say, I want to cry because the color orange made me sad. You can say that. It works. Does that particular lyric work? No, that's trash. But being able to just be plainly honest and not have to worry about, I need to dress this up so it sounds cool so people will relate to it, is like the thing I was trying to get him to understand. But that's what in Jin's music is typically from the things I've heard. God, I had some shit to say on a Thursday and I said it and you liked it and you related to it and that's all I did. Boom, bam, we're done. I didn't have to think too hard. And when you have more like faith in the shit you write, I guess reaching into that part of like your lyric writing becomes a lot easier. But like when you don't do it too frequently, you do spend too much time with like the pageantry of how we present an idea. And I'm like, you just lose so much time in that shit when you're trying to write an emotional record.
His more recent work shows a jump in style and tone. Songs like Moon and Abyss are incredibly descriptive, with allusions and imagery that span multiple verses. Jin shows an understanding of emotional subtext and an appreciation for extended metaphors, particularly ones that involve nature as a vessel for pain or longing. Jin songs do have some gapping. There are lines that will die out early or kind of like misjudge the length of the measure and then taper off with a random yeah or ooh. Momo has this same issue in Twice, where the line is going along normally, the syllables are all there, and then it kind of just goes quiet or has like an oh yeah at the end where there's clearly supposed to be more lyrics. When you look at the chorus of Abyss, which is written by RM, you can see really strong form, and based on what Jin has said about this song, he seems to prioritize emotional content, speaking his vulnerabilities and anxieties in honest and poetic ways. That definitely sounds like style to me. Eking and overstuffing are signs of growing pains, and like how RM's overstuffing became less present over time, I'm sure we're going to see the same with Jin's gapping. I think the partnership with RM and Slow Rabbit has helped give these songs their catchy form. Regardless, Jin's solo songs tend to be some of my favorites. The writing just strikes the balance between imagery and catchy one-liners. Jin's been very open about being inspired by real life, such as Abyss, which he wrote because he felt he wasn't showing his fans the struggles he was going through, or Tonight, which he wrote in memory of his pets. I feel that Jin's lyrics are often written with vocal expression in mind. There are lines that make me think he knew exactly what kind of singing he wanted, so he chose words that would let him do that. His solos are ones I always look forward to because they bring out the depth and simplicity, and Jin's writing is flooded with gorgeous allusions to nature, particularly the moon and the ocean. So Jimin has 10 original writing credits and 9 composition credits. Right now, he's yet to publish a song by himself, and he has the fewest writing credits in BTS, but his work has created some of BTS's most beloved B-sides and even melodies, like in Blood, Sweat, and Tears and The Bridge of Disease. Jimin is similar to RM in topic, in that his lyrics are largely about identity, but different in technique. RM's identity pieces are either rebellious and bold or self-searching and sad. Jimin's identity pieces are sensitive and occasionally sinister. His work can be a bit existential, and he has his own brand of character writing that's a bit different than Yoongi's. This is still one of my 3 favorite BTS solos and one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time. Like all the solos off the Wings album, this song is meant to be a part of the larger Damien inspiration since Wings is a concept album, but the lyrics still ring very raw and personal. While several people are given credits for the writing, Jimin has spoken a lot about his personal drafting for this song, and RM gives him the majority of credit for the lyrics.
되었으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 라이입니다. 많은 분들이 사랑해주신 라이, 지민이의 노래죠. 최근에 이 곡에 대해서 지민이랑 얘기를 좀 잠깐 했었어요. 그래서 근데 이 가사를 지민이가 썼다는 걸 제가 몰랐어요. 근데 지민이가 사실 그 전에 제대로 작사 작곡을 해본 적이 없었거든요. 시도는 많이 했었어요. 저랑도 같이 해보고. 근데 그래서 이 가사를 다 지민이가 썼는데 저는 지민이가 쓴지 몰랐어요. 너무 잘 써서. 그래서 그냥 이렇게 그때를 생각하면서 힘들게 써갔는데 피독 형이 듣자마자 정말 너무 잘 썼다고, 이 노래와 너무 잘 맞는 가사라고, 대박이었다고 했던 그런 일화가 있습니다. 지금 들어봐도 사실 이 가사가 아니면은 그 노래가 어떻게 될까 상상이 될 정도로 너무 저는 가사를 어렵지도 않고 어려운 말도 없고 되게 완벽하게 썼다고 생각해요.
I think Lie is very precious to a lot of people. It has deeply personal and dark lyrics, and it sort of violently externalizes mental struggles.
빠져 있어
When this song came out, were they already performing in stadiums at this point? Because this shit sounds like it's built for a massive stadium. Like a massive, massive stadium.
From the way RM talked about the process of Lie, I get the same feeling with Jimin that I get with Momo sometimes, that this song was likely partially produced and composed before the lyrics were written, and some of the lyrics are built to suit the sound of the song and the vocal expression. This is just speculative, but I get the feeling he knows what he wants to do with his voice even before he has the words. Since he's credited as the main composer on songs like Promise, that wouldn't surprise me.
I want you to be a light, baby. You should be a light.
Like Suga, Jimin's songs incorporate strong second-person perspectives, but these lyrics write to a very specific you who acts more like a named character, whereas in Suga's music, they're more an ambiguous listener or a group audience.
That sound like a banger.
I like the way Jimin plays with the you character, since many of his songs put the speaker in question. He writes a lot of not necessarily unreliable narrators, but narrators who are aware they're lying to themselves, and sometimes we're supposed to question who's the real speaker. When he uses you in a song, you can start out seemingly like a completely different character, but soon reveal yourself to actually be another persona of the speaker or a dangerous mentality of the speaker. Jimin's speaker becomes his own antagonist through the manipulation of perspective, very Jekyll and Hyde. Jimin does have some sonic poetry as well.
I just wanna blow your mind. 이렇게 넌 또 멀어져만 가는데 아무렇지 않은데 그렇게 말하는데 사실은 내가 그게 아닌가 봐.
This stanza has a lot of repeated verse construction between your mine and your mind and the triple aninde, which establishes a pattern. But then, the pattern and repetition are interrupted by this line at the end, which admits it's all a lie, it's not what he really feels. This line doesn't rhyme with the stanza or fit the patterns and rhythms of the previous lines. So as an audience, we're sonically lulled into the ease and repetition of the lines that make up the lie, but the reality of the situation is an audible interruption that doesn't fit. The comfort of lying to yourself is contrasted with cold, hard truth through sound. Jimin seems very selective about what writing tactics make it into each song. In Lie, Jimin is capable of personifying that fight against the mask through the false second person and the interrupted verse construction. In songs like Promise and Friends, he uses more imagery and conversational dialogue. I get the feeling Jimin is familiar with the rewrite process. None of his songs feel accidental or half-baked. I think working with RM might give him a good sounding board. I really like their collaborations since they're both so involved with identity and mentalities. They both love poetry, so more of that, yes please. I would also love to see Jimin branch out and write some songs by himself. Taehyung has been writing here and there since the early days of BTS, but recently he started publishing more often. In 2020 alone, he published 5 new songs. Taehyung is such an art student, and his lyrics are crazy sensory.
Art student, B. I didn't even do it. I didn't even have to. Shorty's telling you. Shorty's telling you yourself.
His style fits ballads, since catchiness and hooks aren't as important as emotional narratives. I would categorize him as an externalized writer, using the world to make observations about himself and his experiences.
trumpet in the background doing some fucking heavy lifting. That shit sound hard.
He is the textbook definition of a style writer. Simply stunning visual language. His characterization of emotions, memories, and the world is immersive. You can really sink into the imagery and sensory details. Taehyung has a gift for headspaces and the emotional world building of a song, if you could call it that. His earlier songs have writing on the simpler side, sometimes just listing vague feelings or actions and naming his thoughts very presently.
Jesus Christ. My phone just will not stop going off today. Alright.
Stigma is more of a catalog of loosely connected statements with similar emotional tones. There is a broader narrative, but the lyrics stay pretty surface level and textual. By 4 o'clock, V starts developing imagery, metaphor, and extended figurative language. Taehyung talks about writing from real life. His own experiences and feelings are the groundwork for most of his language. He writes very specific moments. His writing can be quite soliloquy-esque, based off just one experience he had, or a memory, or real-life minute. A full verse, or even an entire song, could be dedicated to just a couple seconds of his life.
Alright. Yo. Sean. If you see green onions.
What you mean white onions?
No. Spring onions. So you know another name.
Yeah, okay.
So if you see spring onions or bird's eye chilies, if you could grab those for the boy. And some rice as well, please.
Alright.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make bolognese, mate, so just I'll have because you'll be able to make curry.
Then we'll not just make curry tomorrow.
Or if you make it, I'll just do it tomorrow.
But well, I'll just make it tomorrow. If you're gonna make bolognese tonight, I'll just make curry tomorrow. Alright. What I was gonna say about Vito is I was some good day. That sounds like it rhymes with Kuche. So in my brain, I'm just like, what are you asking Shorty for? Or the person? What are you asking for right here in this song?
I think Taehyung's
Like
I think Taehyung's lyrics could potentially go the slightly indie route in the future. He writes lines that stress
slightly indie route in the future. What's this nigga doing now? That shit is pure fucking indie.
obscure details for emotional impact, use nature as an allegory for human states of mind, and aren't necessarily logical, but each word is chosen to bring out a specific feeling or picture.
My little nigga has arrived.
Okay, so Jungkook is Jungkook, and as such, he does everything, and sometimes all at once. He's got the most writing credits outside the rap line. He's been writing and producing since he was a kid. He's written in Korean, English, and Japanese. He's a writer, a producer, a director, and even an instrumentalist for some of BTS's music. Jungkook, like Suga, is someone you could argue is a character writer, but I hesitate to plant my foot on that. Suga is almost purely about the self of a character. I think it's more accurate to say Jungkook is a relationship writer. His strongest pieces are between a speaker and another person. Like, not just me, but you and me.
That sounds like a vibe.
Unlike RM, Suga, and J-Hope, who write like they're talking to themselves or about themselves, Jungkook's lyrics are usually written like they're directed at another person. He seems to love exploring interpersonal relationships. Where the rap line is very introspective and writes as if they're trying to reach their true inner selves, Jungkook writes very externally. His lyrics describe emotions created between two people through their relationship.
널 따라 헬로만 가는 것 같아 이 시간이 널 따라 흐려지는 것 같아 왜 멀어져가
Oh, that's a good flip. I thought he was gonna come into the drop.
흐려지는 것 같아 왜 멀어져가 왜 하지 않을 만큼 가서 Tell me why 멀어져가 why 네 눈에 더 이상 내가 보이지 않니
Jungkook writes these very desperate emotional moments where the speaker is trying to reach someone who can't hear them, whether because they can't process his pain or they can't process their own pain. The speaker describes the world in shades of his own emotions, time, night, and you. This relationship between these two people is the landscape of the world. As the love interest disappears, time and nature are warped by that absence, causing the speaker to question what he's seeing. This is some very romantic writing.
사랑이란 아프고 아픈 걸 이별이란 아프고 더 아픈 것 같아 네가 없으면 나 안 될 것 같아 사랑해줘 사랑해줘 다시 내 품으로 와줘
Love is Not Over is what I would call a powerless narrative, also known as an imperfect narrative. This is a narrative where the speaker or protagonist or hero is not in control of the narrative and is instead helpless to do anything but respond with emotions. In Love is Not Over, the speaker is powerless to stop the heartbreak and the separation between the two characters. We've actually talked about powerless narratives before on this channel, back when I talked about TXT's Eternally, and a lot of you were really into that discussion. If anyone wants a video about powerless narratives in K-pop, let me know. When a gifted writer works a powerless narrative, they can force the speaker to fully externalize all emotions. By stripping any element of choice or power from the situation, the character is left with only emotional reaction.
Love is not over, over, over. Love is not over, over, over. Love is not over, over, over.
That phrase, love is not over, isn't just about how love is stronger than any fight, it's this delusion of the speaker trying to piece his relationship back together. You can hear the speaker go through every stage of grief except acceptance. It's kind of funny, but Jungkook's lyrics feel like letters written to somebody incredibly important. The poetry holds so much intention, and the speaker's words are chosen as if there's someone on his mind he wants to reach. While this style is present in a lot of his lyrics, depending on the song's message or the theme of the album, the word choice becomes specific to each type of relationship.
날 스치는 그대의 옅은 그 목소리 내 이름을 한 번만 더 불러주세요 알아버린 너의 나를 멈춰서 있지만 그대 향해 한 걸음씩 걸어갈래
It's like an active character study on different relationships, each from the perspective of a different letter writer. Where the speaker in Love is Not Over is being left behind, the speaker in Still With You is striking out in search of the other person. Again, that figurative landscape of love, but this time with a totally different tone. The subtext in this opening implies a dead relationship, a voice that's passing, a frozen sunset, but the statements of the speaker change the narrative. Still With You features an empowered narrator.
어두운 밤 조명 하나 없이 익숙해지면 안 되는데 그게 더 익숙해 마지막이 들리는 이 에어컨 소리 이거라도 없으면 나 정말 무너질 것 같아
Jungkook employs a lot of subtext in his lyrics, obsessively describing the small, annoying details in his room, the lack of lights, the hum of the air conditioner. The audience can start to see kind of how far gone he is when he admits that sitting in pitch darkness is familiar to him at this point. Okay, how do I say this delicately? Still With You is intimately aware of mental fuckery. With very few words, Jungkook tells us that the speaker is at his tipping point. This verse reminds me of when you've had an extremely awful day and everything has gone wrong, and you get home and you drop like a glass or something, and it's the broken glass that sends you into tears. If I don't even have this, I'm just gonna completely break down. Also, this is beautiful imagery. I feel like Jungkook is absolutely an imagery writer. Lines like, even if I dance alone, it still rains, I'm gonna run to you on my wet feet, gives me classic Florence and the Machine vibes, like Lung's album Cosmic Love vibes.
I like how it sounds to my ear, but when it's translated to English, that's where it fall apart for me, if I just gotta be honest. I'm not smart enough, I don't think, that I'll run to you on my wet feet. What does that even fucking mean? Please explain it. Because when he sings it in Korean, I'm just like, fucking right, mate. I know exactly what you mean. And I probably, if somebody could explain to me the emotion of what it means to run to one on your wet feet, then like I probably get it on that level. But the English of it, that sounds ham-handed. Running to you on my wet feet. Huh? I don't understand. And this is my doggy, so I would love to understand. So please help me. Please.
So, his speakers have relationships with their love interests, but Jungkook as a writer has a relationship with the world. Like RM, he's aware of his own status as like an idol and an artist and a celebrity. His writing seems spurred on by a genuine interest in putting good in the world. I think Jungkook is driven by a desire to move others with his music, where the rap line can be very self-reflective, often debating their own places in the world and their own attitudes about themselves. Jungkook's writing largely excludes the self.
진심을 말해줘 결국 다 흉터들로 돌아오니까 힘내란 뻔한 말은 하지 않을 거야 난 내게 들려줄게
His speaker introduces himself into the song almost solely as a device to reach whoever the song is addressed to. His speaker is very self-sacrificing or self-diminishing, existing as a vessel for taking on the emotions and pains of others. According to Jungkook himself, Magic Shop was written for the fans to comfort them during times of pain or struggle. Even in this abstract sense, like artist to fan base, his writing is still about the other person. A noticeable break from this would definitely be My Time, which is very much all about him. But for the most part, his lyrics explore the space between a relationship and the wonder of another person. He also seems drawn to collaborations that focus on these themes. Jungkook loves a good heartbreak song, but also a good recovery song. His songs are in constant sensation about people, and his speakers take on love for another person as a means of defining himself. He uses devices that eliminate the speaker, but in doing so, say a lot about how the speaker views himself. I think music is a really good place to explore darker mentalities. Jungkook is a writer who can dip his mind into these self-eliminating places, but also places of comfort and healing. It just shows how versatile he is as a writer. Now that he's writing more and more by himself, I'm really excited to see what dynamics he'll write next. And that, for now, is that. This is a very long video, sorry about that, and I know it doesn't cover every single song and every single important lyric for each writer, but I do hope that it gave you a chance to enjoy some of the rhetorical devices and narrative tools at play in BTS's lyrics. Every member brings something different to the table, not just in terms of voices, skills, and visuals, but also in terms of stories, emotional complexity, and personal connection to writing as an art form. From identity-based micro to macro writing with RM and Suga, to humor and sound exploration with J-Hope, emotional connections to nature with Jin and V, personal inquisition with Jimin, and interpersonal writing with Jungkook. I don't think it's any surprise that BTS has accumulated a massive audience of teens and young adults going through their own comings of age, people who find understanding in the members' lyrics. Please let me know down below who has your favorite writing style, or if there are any lyrics that struck a chord with you. Thank you so much for watching, keep enjoying writing, and I'll see you guys next time.
Okay, so the thing I was gonna say about my little nigga was, in the debut album, like, does he have writing credits? I don't mind. I could have sworn like he was like, I've said everything I need to say, so I'm gonna let all these other niggas write my album for me, and I'm gonna sing the fuck out of it. And it was an absolute belter of an album. My preferred writers would go kind of like the order she put them, actually, except I would move my little nigga to right before Jimin. So it would go RM, Suga and J-Hope slapboxing for second, my little nigga for third, Jimin fourth. V fourth, actually, because I resonate so much more with V's music. I swear that nigga understands how I want to hear a song. Then I'm going to go fifth for Jimin, and then sixth for Jin, because he just does not have enough yet. But apparently his album is finished, so we'll see what the hell he gonna bring to the table. Lord, please let it be a motherfucking rap album. I'll piss myself. It'd be hilarious. Worldwide Handsome comes out with a debut rap album, but he's part of the singing line. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, shout out to Mir for putting this together. This was really good. It's very detailed in an academic sense in ways that I don't typically contextualize music, so it was very nice to have somebody kind of explain to me the music in a way that I wouldn't have said it that way, but I understand what she's saying in the terms that she's using. But I don't talk to people about music that way. I think the more I have to teach kids how to make music when I'm doing my volunteer work stuff, that's probably the closest I get to using some of these. But then you're teaching kids, so you can't use some of these like terms, because they're just gonna be like, the fuck's an allegory, Jern? And I'll be like, well, nigga, honestly, I know how to say it, I know how to use it, but do I know how to define it just off top of my nugget? No, so we gotta go to Google, and then you just lose people's attention that way. That said, though, this was a really good video. I wanted to get this out for you guys today. You'll see me back tomorrow. I've got a show next week. I've got rehearsal and recording this weekend, so we're gonna have a bunch of videos this week, I think, and then next week as well. And I'm gonna try and get a vlog or two out for you this month as well. So yeah, that's what the schedule's looking like right now. Thank you guys very much for joining me. If you could, please hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.